My name is Andrew. I'm 30 years old. About 2 years ago I became very ill, somewhere around there. I'm here to talk about my story a little bit and how I came to be making this video right now about faster EFT. About 2 years ago, I had a lot going on in my life. Very, very stressful situations. I was in a custody dispute in court. I was not dealing with my stress in a very healthy way. A lot of drinking, not really healthy sleeping practices, not very healthy dietary practices, and I think all this stress in my life that I was running away with or running away from and trying to cope with, just all at once, kind of came down on me. I just remember being at work one day and just having this feeling like I was like dying and like I couldn't move, to the point where I just had to leave work, and tell my boss, like, look, I'm sorry, I don't know what the hell's going on. I have to get checked out. And just this debilitating feeling, like, where I pretty much just collapsed. And like the first thing I thought was like, I'm having like adrenal failure or something, because I had no energy in my body to give. And it was pretty terrifying. From the time we're a kid, every time we get sick or every time something bad happens, we can go to the doctor, and then the doctor can give us a little pill or say, oh, it's okay, you just have this, here, take this. And with chronic fatigue and fibro and Lyme's and things like this, and all kinds of chronic illnesses, when you go to get checked out and you realize that there's nothing they can really do for you, because they don't really understand the illness in the first place, so it makes it difficult for them to be able to help you with some of these things. And I'm not knocking on traditional medicine at all, because it's very beneficial for all kinds of different things. But in this particular case, I think that was probably the most defeating thing in my life, was to go to my doctor, who I thought that always had all the answers, and then you don't. So when I first went to the doctor after feeling extremely ill, the doctor wanted to put me on hormone replacement, because she did a bunch of blood tests, and my hormones were all out of balance. And I responded with a resounding no, because I'd read about hormone replacement and how it can be very damaging to your body, and how you develop this dependency on it. And I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to believe that that's all there was, because I knew that there was more. I knew that there was a way to heal. I know in my heart that you can overcome anything. So aside from the hormone imbalances, they found bacteria, candida, different viruses. I had extreme food sensitivities that seemed to just compound, and it would be like one thing after the next. I would become, that would start to make me feel really symptomatic. Primarily like wheat and dairy. I could not do, and alcohol. I didn't drink any alcohol at all. But just to give you a comparison of where I'm at now, I've been on vacation. I'm here in Greece for level 2 training in faster EFT, and I was in Italy for 2 weeks and eating pizza and drinking wine every day, and I feel fantastic. So yeah, talking about it, if I really had to think about it to remember how it was, because when you really change your focus and you really move forward and you start to create a new life for yourself, and when you go back and try and think about the illness, it's just like another life,
So
I'm not that person anymore.
If you were to talk
waking up in the morning and having this just like sinking feeling of like helplessness, and nobody can help you. You know, how are you even going to get through the day? How are you going to have enough energy to get through the day? And anticipating to be miserable, anticipating to feel ill. You know, just having nothing to look forward to, and it's a pretty rough place to be. And I can sympathize with anyone who's there and who might be watching this, but I just want to give you a little bit of hope, because it's hard for me to really even, I really have to think very hard to be able to go back and identify with that. But yeah, from there, you know, for me personally, I think most people are not going to accept this idea that, you know, you cannot get well, or that there's no cure, that there's no answer, because that's just not true. Nothing is permanent. It just doesn't exist. So yeah, I mean, I just went on a journey to figure out what was going on in my body and why I was feeling this way. And you know, after going through just about every modality imaginable in a relatively short period of time, you know, herbs and supplements and different exercises, and I mean, it's hard to recall everything I tried and everything I read about, but yeah, I mean, that sometimes I'd get very, very small changes, but nothing that was significant enough to make me think, oh, this is the answer, I just have to take this special herb and everything's going to be better. So you know, I did notice that there was a ridiculous amount of stress associated with it, and there was this, you know, my mind was always racing. It was not stop, just worrying just about every single thing. I mean, it was a mile a minute. So when I started doing, you know, different practices to relieve stress and like meditation, I kind of started to have this breakthrough of, okay, there's something else going on here. There's another component to this. Like, I didn't really fully understand at that point what was going on, but I did know that if I could just calm down, if I could calm down what was happening in here, that my body would calm down and I would actually have more energy. And so I did find a way eventually to be able to manage my days better, but then I was still stuck in this this cycle of, you know, still searching for like true healing, to be like 100%, to have my life back, you know. And I think that, you know, that searching obviously was what eventually led me to faster EFT, you know, through trying other different modalities, you know, in the field of, I guess, mind-body medicine, So yeah, when I came to Faster EFT, I did the free 7-day online course on the website, and I started the tapping, and I started doing everything Robert talks about in the videos, and I started getting these shifts, and I was like, okay, there's something to this. I like this. Let's see where this is taking me. And I got linked up with the practitioner. I saw Tiffany Jeffers and Heather McKean's videos, and I had contacted Tiffany, and we started doing sessions together, and I started to learn more and more about my problem, and going back and realizing the associations with the illness and the traumas that I'd been through, and all the stress that I was going through, and the way that I was dealing with it inside, and how it was helping to, even a lot of people don't want to hear this, but I mean, I started to realize about how I was actually creating my illness, you know. Every day I was doing it. And I think understanding the structure of the problem I was having was pretty fundamental for me to help to change, you know, and to decide to, you know, do something different. But yeah, working on the traumas associated with it, and you know, just all the stress early on, the stuff that really triggers you, and that was big for me. But I think the bigger thing was to really understanding more about the concepts, and Robert does a really good job at helping you understand, you know, he says the structure of your problem, and you know, how you're doing it inside your body, how you're doing it in your mind. And for me to really realize that, you know, when I was waking up, you know, in this haze, in this, you know, I was waking up anticipating to feel ill every day, and there was no other focus in my mind other than, okay, how am I going to do this task without getting sick? How am I going to do this whatever without getting sick? How am I going to get through the day? My focus was never, oh, what am I going to do today? Oh, it's beautiful outside. Oh, looking for things that actually bring me joy. And to realize about that that the body follows the mind, and how powerful your thoughts are, and you know, just the things you focus on and how much you amplify them, and how your body responds to that. It's very, very real. The mind and the body are one. There's no separation. So to really understand the concepts of how I was creating the illness, and, you know, realizing how powerful I actually was, and realizing that, you know, Robert always says, like, you're not broken. Whatever you're doing it very well. You know, you're just, it was just more of a skill, and there's a lot of power in that, you know, and realizing that you have the ability to create and manifest what you want in life, and whether it be health or a multitude of other things. In my case, it was, I just wanted to feel human again, and so for me, really shifting my focus and focusing on the things I wanted rather than the things I didn't want was, I think, in a nutshell, conceptually, what, you know, was the biggest thing for me. So I started to recognize this dialogue that was going on inside my mind, and becoming more mindful of that, and the just the things I was telling myself, and just the thoughts that were coming up subconsciously on like a automatic level, and to, you know, to step outside and realize that these things are happening in your subconscious. You're not always in direct control of them, and to actually acknowledge them, and to kind of, okay, I guess, work with yourself, you know, and to realize that it's something that you're doing. I think I used to get really frustrated with myself, and doing this self-work, and even after recognizing that I was kind of, that these thoughts are happening and that I was kind of creating this, I would get really frustrated by the fact that I was creating it and it was just happening, and I felt like powerless. But to really take ownership, you know, I started understanding and learning and watching videos, you know, almost every day, and just continuing to understand more and more what was going on inside my mind, what was going on inside my body, taking ownership for it, you know, working with the practitioner and tapping on some of the big traumas and things that were coming up, you know, really listening to what was going on inside, and finding out where it's coming from, and realizing that everything I was doing was a protection mechanism, and that it was really my body and my mind trying to protect me in one way or another, and it was actually this form of self-love, and just a very misguided thing, and to kind of like gently change direction, you know, change focus and keep replaying the life you want. Keep replaying the things that bring you joy, the things that bring you peace. Write them down. Keep them fresh in your memory. So you have somewhere to go when you feel lost, or like you feel overwhelmed with negativity or just illness or whatever it be. You know, just to having an anchor to really grasp onto is like, no, this is where I'm going, this is what I want. And you know, just really creating peace inside yourself, because you can. Sometimes it feels impossible, but you can. I did it. I'm living proof. So I suggest that you get online, watch some of these videos, because this is what worked for me. And I suggest that you start trying to understand what's going on. Start to try to understand your subconscious and the communication that you have between the mind and the body. You know, I'm not trying to, I don't want to sound like a spokesman or a salesman, because it's not about that at all. Like, everyone has their own process of how they're gonna do it. But I think that if you watch the videos and you understand what Faster EFT is about, and you understand the whole concept, not just the tapping, you're going to realize that there's an answer in the philosophy, or whatever you want to call it, that there's an answer for everything that you're doing. And when you really learn and you really use the techniques and you're really persistent with it, you will get shifts. Like, I know you will. But yeah, I mean, I would definitely suggest that. And just taking 5, 10, 20 minutes, whatever you have, and just really calming down, maybe doing a little meditation and focusing on good things. Focusing on things that bring you joy and bring you peace. Not focusing on illness, not focusing on everything that's wrong, everything that bothers you. And once you start to see the shifts, and once you start to see the change, even the small changes, you know that there's something there. And from there, I would really suggest, if you can, to seek out a practitioner and find out who works with you. Don't just you know, try one person and then that's it. And to also, you know, don't get discouraged if there's one technique or something that you find isn't really working with you, because there's a lot. There's a lot of tools and resources within that Robert offers and talks about. So if one thing isn't working for you, just move on to the next, because there's a lot of information there. I mean, I'm just learning. I did level 1 in February, and that was very crucial for me to understand a lot of the foundation. And now I'm at level 2, and it's just like, I mean, I didn't realize that there could possibly be this much information, and it could really be this in depth. But you know, Robert's devoted his life to this and to understanding the mind and the body and how the two work together. And I mean, it's brilliant stuff. And there you will find the answers. You will find what you're looking for there. So.